Anyway, welcome back to Totally Not Strictly Sports. This is not a sports podcast. It's totally a fake podcast. It's not even a real podcast. This is not Strictly Sports. This is not Less Than Satisfactory Productions. I'm totally not Ethan, and this is totally not.
I'm not Austin. We're just made up
Okay,
in a
there we
fictional
go.
universe.
Alright, so yeah, as most of you may know, sports is canceled. It's been canceled for a while, and we miss it so very much.
We certainly do.
We're kept alive by the dribbles of NFL trades and
Various
basketball beef.
Don't forget about the iRacing.
Oh, the iRacing?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's all the NASCAR and IndyCar guys just racing virtually.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah. I have seen lots of like NFL, like there was a competition among the NFL players to see who'd be best at Madden. That was fun to follow.
Who won?
I think it was somebody who played defense for the Chiefs, I think. I can't remember his name.
No. I'm not going to know them anyway. Anywho.
But yeah, we're here to talk about what is totally not sports, fake sports, the WWE.
Technically still essential.
Hey, yeah, somehow in a place that your hosts all know and love very much.
It's Ethan's favorite place on Earth.
Yes, it is a magical land.
The state of Florida.
Probably. Remember, this is a fake episode, so anything we say is not fake. Is fake. I don't know what to say. It's not up. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, it's in Florida because there somehow the WWE got an exemption or something to continue production.
So what my understanding of it is the whoever's in charge of Florida, the governor or whatever,
DeSantis.
He pretty much said that all wrestling promotions can still hold events just without a crowd, and that pretty much sports athletes would be considered essential because entertainment, I guess. I don't know.
We're bored. I think, to quote the president, we're tired of watching 14-year-old baseball games. I don't know why anyone is spending their time doing that.
No.
That seems too masochistic.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain sports where watching some older games like the NFL, NASCAR, IndyCar, even some NBA games, it's fun to watch the old stuff. Baseball, not so much, sorry, but...
Why would you watch old baseball games? No.
Maybe if it's the World Series, but that's it. The rest of
the deciding game of the World Series, because remember there's like 5 to 7 games typically.
True. It's just the baseball season's so long that rewatching games just I can't imagine that. But anyway, back to the WWE. So
yeah, well, they get to continue existing, I guess.
They do, and they're
like bullshit, but you know,
they can't have fans, which is odd because they've been, fanless for a while. They're pretty much the only actual entertainment that keeps going because Vince McMahon refused to follow any rules ever. So,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think his wife is heavily involved in politics, so that may or may not have anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
So
you didn't hear it here though. So they're going to put on their Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up.
Oh.
And
okay, now please, as a WWE novice, please explain to me what Money in the Bank is.
So up till this year, because we'll get to what's going on this year. Up till this year, Money in the Bank, it started out as just, a ladder match at WrestleMania for a briefcase that would give you pretty much an automatic contract for a title match whenever you want it. So, like, if the champion's down and out from Big Show's choke slamming them or something, you can just run in, turn in your briefcase, ring the bell, and pin them real quick, and then you get the title. Easy enough.
Oh,
and then
awesome.
Yeah,
so how much money is in the briefcase?
0. It's just a contract.
What? But is there like a vault that they go to after they get the briefcase? Like, hey, oh look, there's the money in the bank.
I mean, they'll have the title more than likely at some point, so technically they probably would get a raise. So.
No, but like, do they ever get to go?
There is no actual vault or bank involved.
The money in the bank. There's no bank. There's no vault.
Mm-mm.
At least maybe like they all go to Vince McMahon's office and open up a safe and be like, oh look, it's like a diamond encrusted dollar sign.
No, there is none of that, unfortunately.
Money in the bank, or like they could have the winner smash like a piggy bank and be like, money in the bank.
I do like these improvements you've suggested here. I do enjoy them, but unfortunately, no.
Who wants to see that fucking clown do that with a piggy bank? That'd be hilarious.
It would be, but anyway. So what happened with the match is it got so popular from WrestleMania that they went ahead and just gave it its own pay-per-view. So now there's a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which the ladder match is the main point of. Which, you know, that's been going on for like 10, 12 years now, somewhere in there.
Right on.
Like, it's a good pay-per-view. I enjoy watching it. Well, this year.
Yeah.
A little different. They released...
Yeah, because, like, usually it's in an arena, right?
Usually, yes. It is in an arena, and you just climb up. They usually have the briefcase hanging from the ceiling. It's just like a regular ladder match. You go up, you have to unhook the briefcase, and then you win just by doing that. This year, because, you know, everything has to be pre-taped because social distancing and all that and whatever, they're doing something called climbing the corporate ladder Money in the Bank match.
Oh, no, what? So, like...
They're holding the Money in the Bank pay-per-view at the headquarters of WWE in Connecticut.
What?
And what they're
doing...
like,
bust out a bunch of floors to make an arena?
No, what they're doing is everyone that's in the Money in the Bank matches, because there's a men's and a women's. Okay, whichever one starts first, you're starting on the ground floor, like lobby. And you've got to get to the roof of the building. And there's a ring set up there, and 2 briefcases will be suspended above the ring.
What?
So not only is it still the Money in the Bank match on top of a building, you have to climb up the building.
Oh no.
So what I'm thinking... Is there
going to be like one wrestler per floor?
No, like everyone starts on the lobby.
Oh, what chaos. What if they never leave the lobby?
See, my thinking is it's going to be... did you ever see that early 2000s film called Rat Race?
I've not.
So it's got Rowan Atkinson and Seth Green and a lot of, like, you know, lower end A-list actors, if you will.
A-list, okay.
Well, debatable A-list. Okay. John Lovitz is in it.
Okay, John Lennon is lower tier A-list. Wait, John Lennon?
Lovitz. You were right. Yeah, Lovitz.
Lovitz.
The comedian.
Oh, John Lovitz. Yeah, he's lower tier A-list, I guess.
I would make a case for Rowan Atkinson as well. Seth Green's like
tier, for sure. Not Seth Green.
Nah. I still enjoy him though. It's got a lot of other people in it too. Whoopi Goldberg. But pretty much the concept of that is each of those people win like a token from a casino in Vegas, which is kind of like the qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. You know, that's winning your token right there. And they all meet up at this like weird buffet thing with I can't remember his name right now, but he's in a lot of stuff. He's got a weird mustache. I'll think of his name later. And he pretty much just pulls everyone together and is like, all right, so there's this city in New Mexico. There's a train station there. In the train station, there's a set of lockers, and all these tokens are good for one key per person to go unlock this locker full of money, because it's like $1 million or something. And whoever gets there first, by any means possible, you get all the money.
Oh, damn.
And that's kind of how it feels that this year's Money in the Bank is going to be.
Oh, no. Yeah. Ooh, this also reminds me of another great movie. Have you ever seen The Raid?
The Raid. I can't say that I have.
An Indonesian film.
An Indonesian film. That's an odd choice, but I'm holding on.
No, it's really great. So it's about this, I think like drug interdiction team or something, SWAT team, is getting set to raid this apartment complex where a drug lord lives in like Jakarta, Thailand.
Okay.
And anyway, the drug lord totally basically controls the whole building and just seals the officers in there, and then has the citizens attack the officer. Like everybody that lives in the apartment building attack the officers.
Oh.
And, oh man, it is a crazy, bloody, just action-filled fest. It's crazy.
Now, if only they had an end goal of getting to the roof to be evacuated from the building, then that would line up perfect with what Vince McMahon's doing here. Like, man.
Yeah, I can't quite remember how it ends. It's very similar to Judge Dredd, if you've ever seen that.
I have, yes. It's been a while, but I have.
I mean, Judge Dredd, the perfect superhero. Challenge me on it. You can't, because he is. He is the perfect superhero. He is judge, jury, and executioner. Judge Dredd is fair.
I mean, yeah. You're not entirely
I've
wrong.
only seen the movie. I've only seen the movie. I know nothing else about Judge Dredd.
Well, from the movie, yes, it's correct. But I mean,
but that is an underrated superhero film for sure. Ooh.
The newest one or the one before it? Because the one before it was good. The newest one's
there's.
Eh.
Oh no, I'm only thinking of the first. Yeah, I forgot there was a sequel, or whatever it was.
It was like half a sequel, half a reboot. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I remember what you're talking about. But no, yeah, the slightly older one.
Yeah. Also, I remember the name of the guy from Rat Race. It's John Gleesy.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, he's in like everything. So.
But yeah, man, the WWE. What? Like, this is crazy. I mean, there gotta be people that are hiding on the floors though. Like Hornswoggle, where's he hiding?
That would be fantastic if Hornswoggle just popped out of a closet somewhere.
Oh yeah, like ooh, they're close to the top. Like maybe a couple floors, not quite the climax. And he just pops out of like a janitor's closet and he's like, ah.
See, it'd be really great if that girl that he went after at the Royal Rumble a couple years ago, Zelina Vega, if she ends up locking into the ladder match, that would be perfect.
That would be pretty fun. Yeah. Oh, is that clown dude gonna be on it?
Clown. Oh, Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
He's in a title match for the actual title, so
Was
probably
he
not.
facing John Cena?
No, he did that at WrestleMania though. That was actually
Oh, okay. What happened with that? Did John Cena kick his ass?
no. It was actually a well-made little match. It was very cinematic, not very much a
Okay.
true wrestling match, which is fine because honestly, the story that they told worked out well. It's pretty much Bray was like, John, you ruined my career when you beat me at WrestleMania 3 or 4 years ago. I'm gonna ruin yours now. So,
Okay.
and it was like it almost felt like you played Life is Strange, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember like at the very end where you start like just going through different paradoxes and like everything starts
Oh
going
yeah,
to hell? That's what it felt like.
yeah.
But it was
That's
well
pretty
done.
fun.
Yeah. Um, Bray Wyatt did win, but Braun Strowman's actually the champion right now because he beat Goldberg. So,
Uh,
so
Wait, Goldberg is still relevant?
wait, do you actually know that one?
Isn't he the guy that wears like really weird costumes?
No, that's Gold Dust.
Gold Dust.
Yes.
Tell me Gold Dust is still relevant.
Gold.
Goldberg. Okay, I kind of know who that is.
Yes. Gold Dust is actually in a different promotion now because he's in AEW.
Yeah, so there's other wrestling things. I just like figured WWE had a monopoly on it by now.
I mean, they did for a while. Like as soon as WCW went under, it's pretty much been WWE since. Up till probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I'd say everyone else started making pretty big headway. Because New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact, which used to be called TNA.
Impact. Oh man, that's hilarious. There's so one of like the groups, like the high school group for teens in my homeschool group was called Impact. It was some crazy acronym. I have no idea what it stood for, but it's hilarious that it's a wrestling.
Yeah, because well, the only reason they ended up calling it Impact is because the original name for it was TNA, and we can probably understand why that doesn't really fly anymore. Because tits and ass. I mean, yeah. That's exactly why it was called TNA. They said it was total nonstop action, but that was a lie.
Oh, yeah, probably.
And then since their main show was called TNA Impact, they just switched it to Impact, which it sounds better that way anyway. And then this past year, AEW became a thing because that's Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho and the Elite and all those people kind of made their own little brand with Tony Khan. You probably know him. He's the.
I think so.
He owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, that guy.
The one that wanted to move him to London. Yeah.
Yeah. He also owns Fulham FC.
What?
Yeah, he owns a. I think it's a. Is it a Premier level league? Yeah, it's a Premier. It's a championship league.
Okay. I mean, that works.
Soccer team.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty much got his hand in just about every sport now.
That's crazy, man.
I think NBA is the only one he doesn't have anything in.
Oh, okay. Here we go. This is a fun topic.
This
is totally not real sports. It goes with our theme. If you ever somehow obtained ownership of a professional sports team, A, what sport would it be? B, where would your team play and see what would the team name be.
Hmm. Well,
So, I mean, those are the major decisions, right? There's no other major decisions, right? In owning a team.
absolutely not.
I guess bonus points if you know, like, some coaches or something that you want to hire.
All
That's
right.
actually feasible.
Well, first off, what I would do is, because I feel like this would be the perfect time to do it, is I would buy the Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers.
And
Okay.
I'd move them the fuck out of Los Angeles is what I'd do.
For sure.
They don't need to be there anyway.
They don't care about football that much. They don't need two teams.
No, they don't. The Rams are plenty. They can just rip on McVay and Goff all day. It'll keep them entertained.
For sure.
But so I'd buy them, and I'd move them to a state that really doesn't have anything sports related.
Nebraska.
Not Nebraska. I'm thinking more of a
Iowa.
No. I'm thinking more probably like Alabama or Mississippi.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like I could get more of a income from there because those people would come to the games more. Because I see the Alabama and the Ole Miss and all those games. Those stadiums are packed.
It's crazy that college football is so big in Alabama, but they do not have Alabama and Georgia. Oh, I know. I guess Georgia has the NFL.
Well, Alabama, Mississippi.
Alabama does not have an NFL team. That's crazy to me.
I mean, I think it's just because they don't really have a big market. Birmingham's fairly big, but that's it. They don't really have another city you could put it in. But, I mean, that said, you could easily just expand the NFL by about 6 teams and it not be an issue.
Yeah.
Just let Jeff Bezos own them all.
Dear Lord. Man is so much more rich. He's so much richer now. He's making bank off this crisis.
He really is. He's the only person making profit right now.
Oh, yeah. It's insane.
But,
yeah, no. So, man, I don't know what team. This is a difficult one for me. I think I'd have to go with I'd want a hockey team, maybe.
You just want to move one closer to you?
I just want to be in Canada, to be honest. It's cold. I want to be in cold weather. And the ice rinks are cold.
I mean, you could move to Minnesota. Yeah. It's like America's version of Canada.
Yeah. It's a great state. Beautiful state.
Yeah.
I love cold weather. I've always said, if I had all the money in the world, I would have a vacation home or a winter home in Canada. I would go further north in the winter.
It's an interesting thought, but
I love cold weather. I love snow. Beautiful.
See, if I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't go to Canada, but I'd go to Montana.
Montana's a great.
I mean, it's warm there and it snows, so it's great.
Yeah, but it'd just be even colder. Like nobody around for miles.
You'd be in like Yukon territory up there.
So remote. Be beautiful.
Hey,
I don't know what city I'd put it in.
Put it in Alaska.
Probably like in what, Alberta?
No, just throw it in Alaska. That way you can still get the...
Ooh, Alaska?
You get the funding for being in Alaska.
Ooh, yeah. They can pay me to be... Juneau, Alaska. They need a hockey team, right? Hold on, let's be reminded what the biggest fucking...
I think it might be Anchorage.
Alaska is.
It might be Anchorage. But...
Yeah, but you know how big Anchorage is? Take one guess.
Really freaking small.
The largest city in all of Alaska.
Probably has like 1 mil, maybe.
Oh, no.
What? 600?
Not even three. Not even 300,000.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Juneau, the next biggest city, is the size of Brownsburg.
Seriously? And
30,
that's the capital?
32,000. Like 32,000.
Wow. That's nuts.
Yeah, Alaska is small, but yeah, no, an Anchorage team in yeah, I would bankroll a team in Anchorage, Alaska. I would call them. Let's see, probably just the Anchorage Alouettes, right? Is that how you say that word?
Alouettes.
I'm probably absolutely butchering that thing.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm sure it's close enough. But are you talking about the one that like the CFL team has?
No, it's ALEUT. It's from like the islands. They're the ones that like curve into the ocean towards Russia.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, as I explained by like moving my arm in a snaking motion that is clearly visible in this audio medium.
Yes, gotta love the visuals. One day we'll be back to doing visual stuff.
Maybe. Eventually. September?
Maybe October.
2021.
Yeah. Which reminds me, for those of you wondering, Frat House has been put back into purgatory, so enjoy.
But it's becoming more likely in the near future. Like, okay, not near future, short-term future, near-ish future, that we'll be able to film more of it.
True.
But more details on that to come later.
Yeah.
We're just going to tease you a little bit. It could happen.
There's your tease.
It might happen. It could happen in small chunks. It could happen in one large chunk in like 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't get your hopes up. We'll
it
see.
Could just turn into an audiobook. Who knows?
Yeah, an audiobook. What? An audio drama? There we go. We're going to do an old-timey radio version of it. It'll be great. I'll learn a mid-Atlantic accent or something, and it'll be great. It'll be horror. You won't enjoy it, but I'll enjoy making it.
Oh. Yes, it'll be fun for us, just not anyone else.
Do not apologize for any accents I do, unless they are really bad. Then I'm totally sorry, but I'll still probably do them.
Good stuff. But now, if you were to move a team to Alaska, going back to our previous conversation here, who
move a team?
Yeah, who would be willing to join a team in Alaska?
All right, Coyotes are perennially bankrupt. Like,
is that the Arizona team?
A hockey team does not belong in Arizona.
Yeah, I've always wondered how they ended up even getting funding for an Arizona team.
They go bankrupt like every other year, I swear.
I mean, it's one thing putting it in like Vegas, because I mean, it kind of has the feel of a Vegas prize fight, but Phoenix, I just don't feel like, when I think hockey, I think Phoenix.
Man, I would totally move them to Alaska and rename them the Grizzlies, probably.
That works.
And that would be pretty fun.
Now,
bears everywhere.
Question to you otherwise, though. So,
yeah.
What states that currently don't have a professional sport in them do you feel like deserve a professional sports team? Like, clearly, Alabama
there's
is a
not
front
that
runner.
many. Yeah, Alabama is the one that jumps
Yeah,
the top of mind first.
Alabama. Honestly, I feel like Alaska deserves one too, which is why I'm fully on board
No,
with your
they're
plan
not.
here.
Alaska's not big enough. It's just not. They're
Population
just.
wise, no, but honestly,
It's so. It's so far away from everybody else, and it's
true.
just not big enough.
But how cool would it be to do Alaska stuff? Like,
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be
I
better than fucking London, but not as much money. It just feels so
true.
economically unfeasible.
Um, I do believe that if you were to do Alaska, though, like your plan, it has to be hockey. There's nothing else you can pull off, though.
I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
basketball, but it would be rough.
nah. I think it would have to be hockey.
Yeah. NFL's out of the question
Or,
there.
well, hold on. Maybe Major League Soccer.
Oh, wait.
Maybe.
I've got one for you. You ready for this?
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
We're
WrestleMania
just moving.
Anchorage.
We're moving the WWE. John Cena, Sasha Banks. The man, that clown motherfucker. We're moving everybody. We're going up to Alaska. We're gonna go salmon fishing. We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go wrestle salmon. There will be a bear, a live bear somewhere.
Ooh,
Maybe wrestle him.
Braun Strowman could
A little
wrestle a
something.
bear.
Yeah, he could suplex a fucking bear. Oh my gosh, that'd be beautiful.
Yes.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't endorse animal cruelty, but can you imagine? Also, like Braun Strowman would die if he went up against an actual bear one on one, for
prob-
sure.
probably.
I mean, how tall? Okay, how tall is Braun Strowman?
He's a big boy. I want to
I'm gonna
say
look up the stats of a grizzly bear.
Braun's about 6'10" ish. I'll look for confirmation real quick, but he he's pretty stout. Let's see what the Google has here. He is 6'8" and that's his actual size, not build size. So, yep, 6'8".
Okay, yeah, no, a grizzly bear can stand up to like 10 feet tall.
So he's gonna overpower him a little bit.
I
Now,
mean, okay, how much does he weigh? How much does he weigh?
he weighs 386.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wait,
An inland female grizzly bear weighs about 300 pounds.
okay, so he's a bit heavier, but he's a little shorter.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe he stands a chance, but Braun Strowman does not have claws
Or a
or
gigantic mouth.
yeah, with so many teeth. But the idea of a grizzly bear getting suplex, while I do not condone animal cruelty, nope, never even thought crossed my mind, seems hilarious.
Yes.
If we could somehow train, again, not, yeah, definitely bordering on the area of animal cruelty, but if we could somehow communicate to bears that they can make lots of money, make bears intelligent, is what I'm saying, and then steer them towards professional wrestling. What I'm saying here is we could have a talking bear professional wrestling ring or league.
Good lord.
It would beat everybody in the entire world, because who doesn't want to see a bear suplex another bear? I mean, we've all played. Oh, what's that? What's that fighting game? Tekken, that has
Yes.
the bear character. That's like one of the best characters to play at.
Yes, but I feel like
Fucking
that Tekken is the limit that bears fighting should go.
nope. I'm talking professional bear wrestling. PBW. Oh wait, no. Professional Bear Wrestling (PBR). Move over, you shitty beer.
Get a little sponsorship in there. Good lord, no.
There could be a Stone Cold Steve Austin type. It'd be like
Bear 316.
Bear 316.
You know you love it.
Instead of the Miz, right? Is that what it is? Is that his nickname?
Yeah.
We could have the Grizz. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a grizzly bear walking into the ring wearing jeans? Oh wait, no, that's it. Who's that? Shane McMahon?
Why is that what you identify Shane McMahon with?
It'd be Shaq McGrizz.
Why is everything Grizz?
They're all Grizzlies. They're all probably related, right?
I mean, you could have other bears. They don't all have to be grizzlies.
Yeah, but we're talking about Alaska. There are other bears. I guess there's black bears, but how are they going to fight a grizzly? We can't. That's not. I guess we have to make the black bears also intelligent. I guess polar bears might be involved too. So, we could have 3 separate leagues. That's the polar bears, the black bears, and grizzly bears. And then at the end of the year, they all fight for Ultimate Bear.
The Bear Survivor Series. Good lord, no.
Ultimate Bear Warrior.
This is why.
That means we incorporate ideas from American Ninja Warrior.
What
so it's an obstacle course that they're also wrestling on.
This sounds very expensive.
Because imagine a bear suplexing another bear into one of those like little whiplash balls that they have to run across. That'd be hilarious. I'm so high. Wait, okay. Back to the WWE thing. What if they held a match at on a trampoline? Has that ever happened before? Has WWE ever held a match on a trampoline?
I can't think of one. That said, though, I do know
that would be insane. Incredibly dangerous. Probably never be attempted. But
I do know that there were 2 people that's kind of how they started. Because that's how the Hardys kind of started. They had their own little
Hardys.
Is
that how he became broken?
No, that's not how he became broken. But when they're in their teens, they had their own little league for it. But
oh man, it'd be awesome if for this ladder match thing, they could convert one of the floors into Sky Zone.
You just gotta bounce across it.
Yeah.
That would be quite a concept, but I'm picturing it being cubicles and just them running across them and smashing through walls and whatnot. I want to see as much destruction as possible in this. And
if there is not a fight in Vince McMahon's office, then it's just such a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I do agree.
I don't understand why they wouldn't.
You'd have to get the right people to do that, though, and I feel like you'd almost need a Randy Orton or a John Cena or something like that to make it feel proper.
I mean, anything like that. Oh, hey, they have not announced where all the other matches on the card are going to be held, right?
That's true. They haven't said if they're going to be in that ring on the top of the floor. So
or
I don't know.
What if they're just in random places in the building?
Oh Lord.
Vince McMahon's office.
That's not gonna happen, but okay.
Please, no. I'm predicting it now. They're gonna bring back Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's gonna punch Vince McMahon. It's gonna be great.
No, but
see, that's why Vince McMahon gets away with everything that he gets away with. It's because at the end of the day, there are clips on the internet of him getting his fucking ass beat, like, just destroyed.
Yeah, I
And it
mean,
makes everybody feel better.
look at anything Stone Cold's done to him. I mean, that solves pretty much everything. But I just don't think he's gonna let anyone in his office. To be honest with you,
Oh, no, it'll happen, for sure.
no. Well, I mean, I could see Triple H's office getting destroyed, but not Vince's.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Does that... Who's Brock Lesnar's, fucking PR dude?
Oh, Heyman,
What's his name?
Paul Heyman.
Yeah, does he have an office at WWE headquarters?
Technically, he is the head writer for Raw, so yes.
Oh, dude, they could break some fourth wall shits. So, like, one of the wrestlers is unhappy with his storyline and he busts into the writer's room during the match to try and change it.
That'd be great. I really don't think they'd do that, but man, could you imagine?
There's so many things they could do with that.
Yeah, just
that would be a great way to take that clown storyline.
yeah.
Oh man, he's gone super meta. He can control the writers now.
Bray Wyatt writes his own stories now.
Oh no, they all have to band together to kick his ass. That's how you solve supernatural crap. kick that poltergeist right in the junk. Just dead there. Ain't much a German suplex won't take care of.
Now, I watched the full season of Constantine on WB4, and I don't think that happened once.
What? The poltergeist took over a wrestler's body and started torturing the professional wrestlers?
No. I don't believe that's happened. That said, now that I think about it, there may have been a storyline in the late 90s where Undertaker used to possess people.
What? No.
Yes.
What did he have him do?
I don't remember. I'm pretty certain it was because he had this group called the Ministry, and they would just go around, pretty much just getting people to convert to their cult or kicking the crap out of them if they declined. They once put Stephanie McMahon on a crucifix.
What?
Yeah.
How did the Christians let that happen?
Well, at the time it was the Attitude Era, so they could pretty much do what they wanted. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's definitely not what they should have been doing. It was... The 90s were a crazy time in wrestling.
Fuck?
Did you just look it up?
What the heck? Yeah, I'm watching a YouTube video of it right now. Alright, what is going on? Are they getting married?
So, if I recall, it's...
Fuck?
I think it was Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's wedding in the ring or something.
Yeah?
Because that used to be like the stipulation for most things to go awry. And if I recall, Undertaker...
Why would anyone agree? I mean, I understand it's a storyline, but why would anyone agree to have a wedding in a professional wrestling ring?
I don't know. But if I recall, Undertaker puts her on that cross thing, and then he somehow, like, marries her himself, I think? I don't know. It was... Kayfabe was weird in the 90s.
Oh, who is that guy? He's huge.
Does he have a... Oh, what are they called?
He's got like a blonde mohawk.
Yep, that's
a black guy.
That's a Viscera. Unfortunately, he's passed, but
that guy was huge.
Yeah, he was called Mabel back then, and man, he was just a tank.
also found the video of him apparently mind controlling Josh Matthews. This is hilarious.
I think that was what I was thinking of for the possession thing.
The 90s was crazy.
Dude.
Why did they let all this happen?
We definitely, and perhaps we can just do this in later podcasts. I'll just show you some stuff from 90s wrestling and let you give your opinion.
I mean, yeah, I've seen some documentaries. Like, I've seen the Stone Cold Steve Austin documentary. But man, this crap is crazy. What? Like, mind controlling the reporter?
Yes. See, this is the stuff you don't see in those documentaries, though.
That's insane.
We just can't watch any of the women's stuff because, well, they didn't really treat them very well back then.
I mean, somebody got tied to a cross and forcibly married was a storyline.
Yes.
So.
I mean, you've heard about the Katie Vick storyline before, right?
The what storyline?
Katie Vick.
No, I don't think so.
It's the Kane Triple H storyline. It's it's just disturbing. I don't know if it's worth bringing up on here the exact details, but
that's bad professional wrestling.
It was a very bad storyline, to say the least. Anyone that's listening to this, just go Google it if you want to know more, because I don't know how much of it I can say before we get demonetized.
Yeah, no, let's not. Yeah. Wow. Jeez, anyway, yeah, on that note.
All right, what a great way. How about we go ahead and end now before we get too far into 90s wrestling?
Yes. In true Less Than Satisfactory Productions way, we'll leave you slightly less satisfied.
I've been Austin.
I've been Ethan.
And we hope you have a great day. Stay safe and try not to go insane.
Fucking hands!
That too.